What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is your AEW Dynamite and SmackDown, Friday Night SmackDown post-show right here on Off the Script. It is June 12th, 2021. You guys are obviously seeing this in the morning, not like you're used to seeing it live on YouTube on Friday nights. We did the Super Show last Friday. It did great numbers. There were a ton of people inside the venue, but unfortunately, I was not able to go live for you guys on Friday night, and I was forced to pretty much just do it old school and record the review like I used to do before I started going live. So hopefully you guys don't have a problem with this. It is a one-time occurrence. As you guys know, if you were watching some of the content earlier in the week, I am not at home in the office. I am in Texas, and I'm attending a wedding tomorrow afternoon in Temple, Texas. Right now, I'm in Austin in my hotel room. I just got done watching Dynamite and Friday Night SmackDown. A long night of pro wrestling as usual. I can't stand watching this type of wrestling in this format. I need my Wednesday nights back, man. I need Dynamite at 2 hours on Wednesday night. 4 hours is just a lot of wrestling for somebody to consume on a Friday night. But we're going to try our best to go over everything on both shows, just like we did last Friday with the Super Show. So you got 2 weeks of a Super Show coming at you. And as long as SmackDown is teaming up with AEW on Friday night, you guys are going to be getting it in this format instead of me doing an individual review for both shows. So make sure you guys, as always, hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. If you guys want to hit that thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's try for 1,500 thumbs up on today's video covering SmackDown and AEW. Today, also, I want to make sure you guys are aware, Off the Script will be live. Might be a little bit later than usual, but I will be getting you Off the Script episode 380. There was a ton of news to uncover today. We talked about SummerSlam. We quickly rebooked our version of SummerSlam, or what I think should be SummerSlam. Also, there is news about The Rock coming back in November at Survivor Series. WWE has plans for that. News on Brock Lesnar. Is he going to be at SummerSlam? And the outlandish comments, which I will probably go over again today, because Tony Khan actually, he didn't really shit on Triple H. He just kind of graciously said, you know, you gotta be mindful of what you're talking about. So he actually talked about Triple H's comments. Triple H's comments were all over. No matter who you are or where you work for, you know, his comments resonated with not only people in the industry, but fans as well, and not in a good way. So I did go over all of that, and I recapped the ridiculous comments made by Triple H at the NXT TakeOver Conference Call. So that is coming to you tomorrow, and I will be live on YouTube on Sunday night. I will be back home on Sunday. Things will be operating as normal. NXT TakeOver in your house, which I think is going to be a sleeper show. I think it's going to be a very good show on Sunday night. We will be covering that and all your NXT news and rumors coming out of that particular show on Sunday night, live on YouTube, right here on Off the Script. So make sure you guys go and check all that stuff out and be mindful of OTS 380 and TakeOver in your house on Sunday night. Make sure you guys also check out the various ways to support the show. Patreon.com/JDfromNY206. Make sure you guys also go and buy your t-shirts. Bonfire.com is the exclusive home of Off the Script. And make sure you guys go and check my sponsor for today's show, Dr. Squatch, as always, #1 in men's hygiene. Father's Day is coming up as well. Makes a great Father's Day gift, and I would highly recommend it. DrSquatch.com. Soaps, shampoos, conditioners, deodorant, cologne, you name it, man. They got everything. They got all your bases covered. So make sure you guys go and check Dr. Squatch, DrSquatch.com. Use code SCRIPT for 20% off at checkout. We're going to start with SmackDown, guys. SmackDown was not terrible. It really is never terrible, but WWE has this mentality where it's Reigns and more Reigns and only Roman Reigns. And that is continuing on this week. A lot of the show centered around Roman Reigns and the Usos. It is the biggest storyline in all of WWE right now. Roman Reigns is the biggest, most interesting character on WWE television. So I don't blame them in that sense. But it is very obvious and it's very apparent that nothing else even comes close to being important next to Roman Reigns. And I mean, the other situations that are happening on SmackDown, they're not receiving ample enough time for people like me and you to legitimately care about them. They're not giving any effort towards anything, or no, they're not putting any effort, I should say, into anything that's going on outside of Roman Reigns. We got really quick 2-3 minute matches that don't really factor into any sort of importance. It's not fun to watch. And it's not really fun for a 2-hour show where Roman Reigns and Jimmy and Jey Uso are legitimately leagues more important than everybody else. It's a problem. I think they know it's a problem, but I don't think they care. And it's quite sad. So the whole situation going into this week was, who's Roman Reigns going to wrestle at Hell in a Cell? Is it going to be Jey Uso? Is it going to be Jimmy Uso? Is it going to be both Usos? We don't know. I pitched for Jimmy Uso to be inside Hell in a Cell with Jey Uso. I pitched Jimmy Uso to be inside Hell in a Cell with Roman Reigns. Neither of those situations are happening. And there were rumors coming out of last week's show, and I did an extra on it, where Roman Reigns more than likely will wrestle Rey Mysterio for the Universal Championship at Hell in a Cell. Now, one could argue, does it belong inside Hell in a Cell? That question was answered tonight. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I'm not going to argue it because I'm sure the story, no matter how weak it is and how quick of a turnaround this story and this program really is, it's just a one-off feud for Roman Reigns before we get him into SummerSlam. It should be decent. It should be interesting. It should be family tied, but I'm not here for decent. I'm here for, hey, this is a great wrestling program. This is a great wrestling storyline. This is a great wrestling angle. I'm here for this. I don't get those vibes. But listen, Rey Mysterio gave us a great match with Brock Lesnar. I expect nothing less against Roman Reigns. So we seen a video recap air last week of the SmackDown Tag Team title match ×2, because we got it both times, one in the beginning and one in the end, with the Usos and the Mysterios, with Roman Reigns interfering at the end and attacking Rey Mysterio, including Jimmy Uso, expressing disagreement with Reigns' vicious tactics after the match was over. So they cut backstage to Paul Heyman standing behind a seated Roman Reigns, obviously the head of the table, with Jey sitting next to him. As usual, Jey looked like he didn't want to be there because he was afraid of Roman Reigns and what he might do to the Usos. Reigns told him he owes him one. He told him there is only one thing he cannot stand for. Jey says he knows that's embarrassing the family. Reigns says he knows Jey understands that. But does Jimmy understand that? So Jimmy Uso's music played. He storms out to the ring. Reigns was watching on the big screen as he made his way to the ring. Jimmy entered the ring and psyched himself up to get ready to cut a promo. I've always enjoyed both Usos' promos, but I think I enjoyed Jimmy's promos better than Jey's. That's just my honest opinion. So he's in the ring. He said, last week was supposed to be a celebration, but they got robbed. They got robbed from the Mysterios. They got robbed from the referee, obviously botching, quote unquote, that outcome in the first match. Says he's not out there to make excuses. Said the referee blew the call, plain and simple. Said everybody in the Thunderdome could see he kicked out before 3, which he did. He said they got a second chance later to redeem themselves. So they were doing what the Usos do when Roman Reigns stuck his nose in our business. But it's family business. Roman Reigns' business is everybody's business. Your business is Reigns' business. He's the champion. It's the way it should be. He's modeled himself on SmackDown through these means. He said what they were doing when they were winning the match, they were about to take the titles from the Mysterios, and he said Reigns couldn't stay out of it, and he pretty much screwed them, is what he was saying with so little words. Got them disqualified on purpose. So Jimmy asked, what was the point of the attack? Why did Reigns come out and do what he did? He said he thought about it and he knows what his issue is. He said Reigns is jealous that he is back and wants his brother back and the Usos back. You're jealous that we want to represent the family again and hold the gold like you. They showed Reigns shooting Jay a very menacing look in the back, wondering what he thought of his brother. So Jay, he had his head down. He was afraid to look at Roman. Jimmy said Roman is trying to tear his brother away from him. He said he is his brother's keeper, not Roman. He said tonight he promised to do something he won't regret. So Jimmy left the ring, and that was pretty much it. So they went backstage. Reigns, Jay, and Heyman were all standing there. Reigns said Jimmy isn't his twin, and nobody is going to confuse him with him. Jay got up and said, listen, Us, I will take care of it. So then backstage, we see the confrontation between Jimmy and Jey Uso. They were face to face. Jimmy asked if he thinks they could win the tag team titles, could have won the tag team titles last week. Jay says yes. Jay said that he was upset. Jimmy said it can't be like this anymore. He told Jay he needed him, and he just froze. He said he's his twin. Jay was rubbing his head, the side of his temples. Jimmy told him if he wants to talk about family disgrace, Roman is actually the one disgracing our family. Jay yelled, and he was just feeling stuck in the middle of all this. He feels stuck in a tug of war between Jimmy and Roman Reigns, and he's in the middle of it all. He doesn't know how to get out of it. He said, Jimmy was gone for a year, Us. You were gone for a year, Us. My loyalty now is to the tribal chief. He's main event Jey Uso. Jay asked what he should do. Jimmy told Jay that if Reigns wants to see him, that he will be in his locker room and Reigns needs to come to his locker room. This was good. I mean, run-of-the-mill, great Usos and Roman Reigns drama to start SmackDown. I expected nothing less to start Friday Night SmackDown. And I like the fact that this is the next chapter. That Jay is in the middle of a tug of war between Roman and Jimmy Uso. What's going to happen? Are they all going to come together now because Jimmy's making Roman feel bad? Roman's making Jimmy feel bad. Roman and Jimmy are both making Jay feel bad to a point where he just, at one point tonight, walked out on both of them. And Roman Reigns gave Jimmy a verbal lashing to a point where he may have actually knocked some sense into Jimmy to fully accepting Reigns as the tribal chief and getting the Usos back on the same page to do his bidding. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Roman Reigns is showing that he's a leader. Roman Reigns is showing that he could be very powerful with the words that he speaks and how much influence he really does have over his cousins, Jimmy and Jey Uso. This was a great storyline. This was a great start to SmackDown, but I say it every week. It can't only be this. But as usual, this was a great start to Friday Night SmackDown. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how Jimmy gets on the same page as both Roman and Jay. SmackDown started with the first match of the evening, Kevin Owens and Big E versus Sami Zayn and Apollo Crews with Commander Aziz. Now, I mentioned on Twitter during the show, and by the way, no mention of anything with the four-way match that we seen a couple of weeks ago. No mention of Aleister Black. No mention as to why Apollo Crews is still the Intercontinental Champion. Nothing was made. Nothing was said in regards to that. So I said on Twitter that SmackDown has one hell of an Intercontinental title division, quote unquote. But they're not giving any of these guys anything of substance. I don't think any of these guys had any real substance with that Intercontinental Championship, even when Big E was the champion through much of 2021. Kevin Owens, the only thing of substance that he's done in 2021 is him feuding with Roman Reigns and having that trifecta of matches with Roman Reigns that bled into their Royal Rumble match. Big E, he hasn't done much of anything. In fact, I honestly think he was a disappointing Intercontinental Champion. Sami Zayn is a great character. I don't think WWE has done Sami Zayn justice at all. Apollo Crews, yes, he's the Intercontinental Champion, but I honestly think the work that he's putting into his character is outweighing his Intercontinental Championship reign. I think Apollo Crews is one of the best things about SmackDown. I think Apollo Crews right now is the best Apollo Crews that we've gotten in WWE, period. He's owning that shit, and I love it. The accent, Aziz, the look, the music, the whole vibe of what he's doing. It's awesome. But they're not really giving these guys anything of substance for the Intercontinental Championship. They got one of the best. I don't want to use the term mid-card because these guys are much bigger than that. They could definitely be bigger than that. But realistically, everybody knows it as WWE's mid-card. They got one hell of a mid-card here. And they're not doing anything with it. So they need to get on the fucking page and do something with these guys, plus the others that you got on the roster, and really make a competitive Intercontinental Championship division. That's what I think they should do. Because these guys right now, they're just floating in the middle of SmackDown's mid-card division, and they don't really have anything of substance to have the fans latch onto. I enjoy great wrestling, but I also want good story to go along with that. I'm sure you guys agree. This was a great tag team match, though. Like I said, I enjoy a good tag team match. I enjoy good professional wrestling. So Big E was being beaten down in the corner. KO was in the corner. He was Big E's partner against the heels. And he continued to just stand there as Big E was being beaten down by the heels. KO and Sammy both got hot tagged in at once. KO took it to Sammy, including a flip dive off the apron onto Sammy, followed by a senton. KO landed a corner cannonball and then a top rope swanton bomb for a near fall. How could you complain about Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in the ring together? So a minute later, Sammy managed to tag in Apollo Crews. KO gave him a pop-up powerbomb for a near fall, broken up by Sami Zayn. Sammy landed a chicken wing suplex that sent KO over his head, followed by a blue thunder bomb, which is one of my most favorite moves in all of WWE. He never wins with it, but I really enjoy it. Big E broke up the cover off the thunder bomb. Big E clothesline Crews over the top rope that followed and landed on him. KO then caught Sammy with a pop-up powerbomb for the 1, 2, 3. 15-minute tag team match. Awesome stuff there. After the match was over, we had KO and Big E leaving. Crews took a microphone and asked from the ring why they're celebrating. He's still the Intercontinental Champion. They didn't beat him. No mention of Aleister Black and why Apollo Crews is still the Intercontinental Champion, but you didn't hear it from me. He said the only reason why they won the tag team match was because he had to team with that idiot, Sami Zayn. So he suggested a tag team match next week. It's going to be KO and Big E versus Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz as his tag team partner. KO and Big E were talking about it. They obviously agreed to it. Sammy stood up and said, "Who are you calling an idiot?" He said that they set him up. This is all a conspiracy. This is all your fault. He said that he is working with KO, and he's working with KO to keep him away from the Intercontinental Championship. So we got a Nigerian nail to the throat for his troubles, and goodbye, Sami Zayn. WWE, what did I just get done telling you? They got one hell of a mid-card division with these four guys, and I'm not even including the others that could potentially be in this mid-card. But this is what they're giving us. And this is what they're giving all four of these guys. They're not giving them much of anything. Now you got Commander Aziz in this match, and you're pretty much giving us a tag team match that looks the same as what we got here without Sami Zayn. In fact, the match may be worse next week. This is the level of ideas that Bruce Pritchard brings forth on Friday night. There's nothing of substance here. Like, we don't know who Commander Aziz is. He's Babatunde. He was Shane McMahon's biggest deal in Raw Underground. Oh, this is his WWE debut. No, it's not. We saw this guy on Raw Underground. Well, you're not supposed to know that. They're hyping this up as him being in the ring for the first time. If that's the case, I'd take the same match that we got tonight next week. Again, nobody gives a fuck about Commander Aziz. Nobody wants to see him wrestle, and nobody wants to see him in the ring next week with Kevin Owens and Big E. He's great for Apollo Crews, but WWE is getting very lazy with what they're doing with these four guys and the Intercontinental Championship. I still don't know where we're going to end up at Hell in a Cell with the Intercontinental title. For all we know, it's not even going to be featured. But it looks like it's either Owens or Big E. Not really much of a difference than what we got before Aleister Black was brought into the fold and then unceremoniously fired. Moving on with the next segment, Chad Gable. Chad Gable is coming into his own with big man Otis, who we'll talk about in a second. Chad Gable approached the Street Profits and said that there is egg on his face. I had a delicious egg and cheese and potato breakfast burrito or breakfast taco this morning. It was delicious. So more egg for me. I love egg. He apologized for what Otis did last week. Said Otis thought he wanted an apology, but he didn't. Said he could be very overly protective, said Chad Gable. Said he got their tag team match tonight, you know, the one that we signed last week. Tonight, it's canceled. So Gable and Otis versus the Profits was canceled. Montez Ford says, well, they can control Otis if he can't. And if he gets in their faces again, he'll send him to the Jurassic period. Quite the lame line there by Montez Ford. Gable said that they just talked their way back into a match. He asked who is going to bring the smoke against him tonight. Angelo Dawkins wanted the smoke. Ford said, nope, I got it, so he insisted. Gable said he'll wrestle without Otis as long as Dawkins isn't with Ford. So Montez Ford agreed. Before leaving, Gable said, oh, guys, Otis, by the way, is still angry. Chad Gable, I was not big on him being a heel, but I said it on Twitter. It's getting to a point where it's slowly growing on me. Just like Randy Orton and Matt Riddle on Monday Night Raw. Wasn't a big fan of it because I wanted Riddle to find success on his own. I don't really consider Matt Riddle a tag team wrestler, but it's charming in a way on Monday Night Raw. And where you find nothing of interest for 3 hours, they stick out like a sore thumb as the most entertaining act on Monday Night Raw. So I'm quite enjoying it. And I've warmed up to them as a tag team. For now, even though it is a temporary thing. Because we all expect Randy Orton to break up and turn on Matt Riddle. Same thing is happening with Otis and Gable. I think Otis, especially after tonight's transformation, they actually had him cut his beard. And they trimmed his hair. Now, I didn't really like it at first, but I understand the pro wrestling mentality of it all. He looks very weird. Something I got to get used to. But there was something about the way Otis looked before what we know of Otis. There wasn't really a correlation with that Otis and heel. That Otis was playing a heel, but he looked like a babyface. So Vince probably told him and gave him the initiative, we got to make you more of a monster. Your beard and your hair and your funny attitude, it's not really translating to heel. You got to be more heel. Not only in action, but you got to look heel in appearance. So he had him cut his beard. Like I said, he looks very bizarre without the beard. I got to get used to it. But they're playing up Otis being a monster heel, and out goes the beard. Goodbye. Clean-shaven Otis is now what we got. Chad Gable, I'm not leaving him out of this situation either. He's owning this heel shtick as well. He's not really a mean, dastardly heel, but he plays that sarcastic prick very well. He does it in a sarcastic way where it just comes off as, man, this guy's a dick. But it sounds great. He's not a great promo by any means, but he does it well enough to a point where you know he's heel because he comes off snarky. So I'm liking them as a pairing. I thought this was a temporary thing, and I was one of the first people to fucking complain about Otis being taken away from Tucker and then Tucker Knight being fired. But Chad Gable's quite the replacement. If Chad Gable's making Otis better than what we remember Otis, I don't think anybody should have a problem with this. In fact, if this keeps up, I would say give them a run at the tag team championships. You're going to need a big dominating tag team as a heel team. Let's try it out. I hope that they had him change his appearance. This is the one thing that bothers me, though. I hope that they had him change an appearance, for himself, cutting the beard and the hair and all this stuff. And there's going to be a push to follow that. Because if you had him change that appearance about himself and then you don't give him a push, the fuck are you doing? So hopefully this results in a push for Otis. Reigns. Back to Reigns and the Usos. Reigns asked Jay where Jimmy is. Jay said he told him to tell Roman that if he wants to see him, he has to visit our locker room. So Reigns laughed like, who the fuck is this guy, right? Reigns asked Jay why he's making Jay the bad guy. Or Reigns asked Jimmy why he's making Jay the bad, I think it was Jay, why he's making Jay the bad guy. Reigns joked about saying it's their locker room, so he acted very amused when he said this. Then he puts his hands on Jay's shoulders and said, listen, I'll go visit the locker room when I'm good and when I'm ready. That's pretty much it. So Jay is the bad guy. Jay is the bad guy. Carmella versus Liv Morgan. Another rematch. We've seen this match legitimately last week. Carmella got the win. The most beautiful woman in all of WWE, which is done by design, folks. They're bringing beauty back and making that a bigger priority over pro wrestling. Because not only with that, we got Eva Marie on Monday, and then we got the Bella Twins. Big rumors about them coming back to the WWE. Are we obviously going back into a Divas evolution period in WWE? I don't know. I don't like it. I don't have a good feeling about it. I don't think there are a lot of happy people about this situation, but they're bragging that Carmella is the most beautiful woman in all of WWE. Liv Morgan gets a victory here. 4 minutes. Not that bad of a match. Liv won with her Oblivion finishing maneuver. So it was a huge win, says Michael Cole and Pat McAfee on commentary. After Carmella lost, she had Greg Hamilton proclaim that she was the most beautiful woman in WWE. I'm glad that Carmella is sulking about a loss after she beat this woman last week and finds more enjoyment in Greg Hamilton saying she's the most beautiful woman in WWE. 50-50 booking. Who gets over here? Is it newsworthy? No. Liv Morgan, I know a lot of people, including myself, want to see more Liv Morgan on TV. I think she deserves an opportunity. I think everybody feels bad that WWE let her partner in crime go, Ruby Riott. But who exactly gets over here? How is this going to move either of these women up the women's ranks in WWE? Why are we seeing this again with the potential of seeing another third match next week? I don't get it. How does this benefit anybody? These two women make up 40% of the SmackDown women's division. Right there is a fucking problem. Fix it. You got a draft coming up on August 30th, correct? Why don't we start fixing the problems that are very apparent with these shows? Starting with this. Nobody gets over when 50-50 booking is introduced into the equation. I think Bruce Pritchard should already know that, but they don't give a shit because women's wrestling is on the lower end of the spectrum with creative. Bayley. Another one they're not doing anything with who should be all over this fucking show in that women's division. She introduced Ding Dong Hello, the talk show. She, of course, obviously came through her door that was set up in the middle of the ring. She had a bunch of new posters touting her career highlights. They were all standing in the corner of the ring. She then introduced the King of Drip, Seth Rollins. This is WWE's new thing. Drip. They got this infatuation with the word drip now. The ratings are dripping lower and lower down the drain, Bruce. But you want to start using drip on WWE television now and pretend that this is the new word of the month. Drip. Tears drip from my fucking eye watching your goddamn show on Monday night because it makes me fucking sad. I could use many sentences with the word drip. I think that's going to be our new thing on the podcast moving forward. The king of drip. We got Seth Rollins coming out with a fucking lavender suit. He's the king of drip. Then we got fucking, what's his name? Morrison on Monday Night Raw. His drip stick. Johnny Drip Drip. He's double the drip. He's not quite the drip that Rollins is. Or Rollins is not quite the drip that John Morrison is yet. Till he adds the king of drip drip to his new nickname on SmackDown. Ridiculous. It's like this show was written by fucking 7-year-olds in crayon. Drip. Comes out in a shiny lavender suit. Seth thinks this is some new fucking gimmick. Ric Flair was doing this before him. Bobby Roode was doing it before him. Coming out with different colored robes. Right. Now he's coming out with different color suits. Listen, he needed to make something his thing. So now he comes out with fucking obnoxious suits. The suits are getting more attention than whatever Seth Rollins is doing with this current character of his. So I guess it's kind of working. It's making him somewhat newsworthy, but not by much. So Seth rang the doorbell. He came in and he walked through the door. Seth praised the new set, said she'll mop the floor with Bianca Belair at Hell in a Cell did Bayley. So Seth, he took over the show for a little bit. I wasn't sure whether this was Seth Rollins' talk show or Bayley's talk show at one point. Rollins was talking so much. Seth threw a clip of Bayley cackling on the screen at Belair last week. Cackling meaning obnoxiously laughing. And then her face, we seen again all over the Thunderdome screens in a replay last week. So they were back live in the ring. Bayley and Seth were breaking into laughter after watching a replay of Bayley laughing at Bianca Belair last week. They went on and on laughing together, and they were laughing together all through this ding-dong hello show. Should be on a fucking shirt. I guarantee you that WWE is going to put that cackling fucking face of Bayley on a t-shirt. That's why I said it. I won't be surprised. AEW does it with everything. Why wouldn't WWE? I'd buy a Bayley cackling t-shirt. That'd be me laughing at all the fucking trolls who think that I suck at my job, but still listen to me every single week because they need content. And they live off my content and make a name off my content. I totally buy that shirt. Somebody get to work on that one. Seriously. Put Bayley's cackling laugh on a fucking t-shirt. Ding dong. Hello. I think that would sell hundreds of t-shirts all across the globe. Anyway, all they're doing is laughing here. Bayley said laughter is the best medicine. Seth says it was great to laugh. It felt great to laugh. She threw it to the big screen with Seth attacking Cesaro 3 weeks ago. They pretended to be disturbed by the stomp that Seth gave Cesaro before breaking into more laughter for about 10 seconds. Seth extended his leg and Bayley shook it. Suddenly the doorbell rang. And here I am thinking it's Bianca Belair because all they were doing was laughing at Bianca's expense. But it was actually Cesaro. Cesaro was the one who rang the doorbell and crashed the party. Cesaro gave Seth a back fist to the face and then destroyed Bayley's new set, broke the door, was throwing couches all over the place. He destroyed the pictures and the portraits that she had hanging up of herself. He tore off Rollins' pants. So Rollins was de-pantsed on SmackDown, exposing his black Hanes boxer shorts. But on this night, he didn't pin Damian Priest in his underwear. He simply ran away. So Rollins was quite embarrassed. I'm not sure if that was actually supposed to happen. And quite frankly, if it wasn't supposed to happen, I'm sure Vince McMahon got a great laugh out of it and thought that was great television. Because Vince McMahon and toilet humor go hand in hand. So I'm not sure if that was really supposed to happen, but Rollins' lavender suit was destroyed by Cesaro. So he fled, and Cesaro began throwing parts of the stage at him. He threw a potted plant at Rollins as Rollins ran away. Bayley was very upset, hands on her hips, saying that she destroyed her new set. How could you? This is my set, bro. So Cesaro should have just cut him a check right there. I would have loved if Cameron Grimes came out to the moon and started throwing $100 bills in Bayley's direction so he could buy her a new set. Belair's music then played, and clearly with the stage in ruins for Ding Dong Hello, the set, I should say, in ruins, Belair came out, and all she did was twirl her hair, mic in hand, and she did her own cackling laugh, imitating Bayley. Bayley was very humiliated by Bianca Belair. Great. What a great SmackDown Women's Championship feud, folks. We're having this title feud built off of who laughs worst. Yet women's wrestling is thriving in WWE, says the geek on social media. Great. I'm going to be laughing when WWE's ratings sink lower and lower into the fucking toilet. Megan Moran. Oh, Morant. I'm sorry. It's a typo, bro. Seriously, my iPhone, where I transferred my notes to my laptop. I'm sorry. Megan Morant. I'll get it right one week. I'm sorry. Interviewed Rey Mysterio backstage. She asked for an update on what happened with Dominik. What is his condition? He said he's in rough shape. He said if you go after his son, he's going after you. That should obviously be the case, Mr. Mysterio. I'm glad we agree. Says it was the worst kind of torture, watching his son go through that type of pain. He said he vowed from the day he was born to protect him. He said last week he failed. He said his injuries weren't a freak accident. He said his injuries were caused by a man who claims to be all about family, yet he won't even think twice about destroying his own. He said Roman can do what he wants about his family, but he can't come after his. He said Dominik is his reason for being. He says he's calling out Roman later on tonight. He said if he dares to come out, he'll show him what a family is supposed to look like. Pretty much all but confirmed that we got Reigns and Mysterio at Hell in a Cell. Very good promo by Rey Mysterio, and I do like the fact that Rey is being a parent, doing what a parent should do, honoring his son, because Roman beat the shit out of Dominik Mysterio. Montez Ford versus Chad Gable. Decent little match here. Went back and forth for 10 minutes. Otis was in the back. Dawkins was in the back, but being that they were not allowed at ringside, what do you think happened? Otis took out Dawkins, and then he made his way out to ringside. Ford hit a spine buster for a close near fall. There was a great spot in this match where he was about to springboard in the ring. I don't know what he was going to do, but Gable caught him off of a springboard into the ring, caught him in one motion into a Northern Lights suplex with a bridge. Awesome stuff there. Got a near fall, did Gable, off of that. Like I said, Ford hit a spine buster for a near fall of his own. Ford slowly climbed to the top, hit the frog splash. He made the pin, but Gable kicked out at the last possible second. I'm not sure what had happened here. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be Gable kicking out or Otis jumping in the ring to break up the count and then get the disqualification. Something seemed a little off about this ending. Either way, we got Otis in the ring. He jumped Ford, which caused the disqualification. Otis, like I said, I think he missed a cue, and he was supposed to break up the pin, but was late to the party. We got a DQ anyway. Otis, he has a more sinister appearance, a more heel-like persona now, shaved beard and all. He attacked Ford at ringside and then power slammed him in the ring with a world's strongest slam. He then landed a leaping splash, which squashed Montez Ford like a bug. Gable looked up, smiling. Dawkins limped out to try and make the save. Otis threw him out of the ring. He then landed a swing splash out of the corner. Dawkins ran back in for the save as referees and officials ordered Otis and Gable out of the ring, away from the Street Profits. I miss old heavy machinery. I still do. But like I said, somehow, some way, Otis and Gable as a team is growing on me. I think it's great. And if this is what you're doing with Otis now, this more heel-like appearance, this sinister appearance, shaved beard and everything, he looks very generic. He looks like just another fat guy. He does. But I hope that if WWE put the effort into changing his appearance, that they're going to put the effort into Otis and give him a solid push with Gable for the tag team championships. So we'll see what happens. Do you believe that we got another Baron Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura match on SmackDown? Another Baron Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura match. I don't understand it. It's almost as if it's a fucking troll job at this point. Nakamura was with Rick Boogs. We still, 4 weeks now, that these guys have wrestled consecutively. And not one situation where anybody gave an explanation as to why Nakamura and Rick Boogs are a thing. Not one single explanation. Does anybody care? Are we going to get one? At this point, I've given up all hope. Nakamura, he gets the victory here over Corbin. And I'm not sure if you guys even give a shit, but this is all stemming from the crown that Nakamura stole from Corbin that is actually Baron Corbin's crown. We're fighting over property that gets stolen that belongs to Baron Corbin, and they're making a big deal about it. If this is the level of storytelling that SmackDown has resulted in, keep it. Why do you expect anyone to watch such basic drivel? This is awful. It's awful writing. Nakamura went for a Kinshasa. Corbin hit a deep six for a near fall. Corbin was firmly in control at this point, continued to beat down Nakamura. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Nakamura rolled up Corbin for the 1-2-3. Sunset flip, or a victory roll. It's a victory roll, modified victory roll for a 1-2-3. He pins Corbin in 2 minutes. 2 minutes of my life I cannot get back. Corbin jumped Nakamura. He ran to the outside to go grab what is his property, the crown. Rick Boogs ran around the ring. He stopped Corbin from getting the crown. Corbin slammed him on the announce table. Nakamura grabbed the crown from Corbin as he was standing in the ring. He just reached over the top rope and grabbed it as Corbin was on the outside. So he stole the crown back from Corbin. Rick Boogs is sitting there playing air guitar, and Nakamura is doing his little thing in the ring, his little pose in the ring, and that was it. Corbin attacked Boogs as Boogs ran towards the crown, like I said, on the announce desk. Corbin grabbed the crown. Nakamura snatched it away. Boogs then threw Corbin into the announce desk. Nakamura put the crown back on, and Boogs joined him playing air guitar. One of the dumbest, most simplistic, and fucking mind-inducing, idiotic angles that WWE has done all year. I don't know what we're arguing about here. I don't know what we're fighting over here. 4 weeks in a row. And you know what? WWE, like I said, this has got to be a troll job. They are doing the match again next week. Corbin went to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. He asked, when are they going to do something about Nakamura stealing his crown? He ordered him to demand Nakamura return his property. Pearce and Deville started laughing, just like everybody else is doing with this fucking storyline. Corbin asked if this is a joke to them. Deville stuttered and said, listen, we're going to put the crown on the line, and you are going to wrestle Nakamura again with that on the line. Pearce said they can settle it next week in what is going to be called Battle for the Crown. Corbin stared at Pearce for about 10 seconds because I'm sure he thought what we all were thinking, that this is sheer stupidity. He didn't say anything, and the segment was over. So let me get this straight, folks. Let me take a sip of my beverage first before I go into deep thought about this one. Hold on. So let me get this straight. We're making a match next week, which would be match number 5 in just as many weeks between Baron Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura. And we're putting the crown on the line in this 5th and what is hopefully forever the final match between these two guys. Because, I mean, let's be real. They're lighting the world on fire that everybody wants to see it 5 weeks in a row. We got the crown on the line, and Nakamura stole Corbin's crown. Corbin has to fight back for what was originally his to begin with. But now we have to have a match for something that legitimately belongs to Baron Corbin. If I'm him, why am I standing for this? I legitimately wonder who writes this fucking shit. Who writes this garbage and thinks this is quality writing? I wonder if Fox executives are watching this fucking show and thinking the same type of logic that I'm thinking. Corbin is legitimately fighting for something that already belongs to him. So why not just give it back to him? Or better yet, I don't know, Bruce. How about this one? How about Adam Pearce demands Nakamura to give Corbin the crown back next week, and he oversees the whole fucking thing, and then Corbin gets the crown back with Adam Pearce then adding, "You got your crown back." No more of this childish, juvenile bullshit. We're going to have you now as the king defend that crown in a 16-man King of the Ring tournament, which will start the following week after SummerSlam. I don't know why we are going to the lengths of bringing this crown to the storyline and then building around it to get us to a King of the Ring. Or is that too difficult of a fucking thought process for creative to really go out there and take pen to paper and give that to Vince McMahon? Or am I just that fucking genius? One or the other. This is shit. And I love Rick Boogs. I do. Rick Boogs is awesome. He's the one shining beacon of light in this entire situation. I mean, no harm verbally to Rick Boogs. The writing in this shit and the matches that we've gotten from Nakamura and Corbin are complete trash. Let's move on. Crown Corbin, King of the Ring. He loses the crown in the tournament to whoever you want to label next king. Simple. How about we go about it in an adult-like way instead of writing a fucking storyline that a 3-year-old can pen better? Jimmy is pacing back and forth when Roman Reigns walked into his locker room. Heyman handed Reigns his Universal title. Reigns told Heyman he will need a minute. Heyman left. Jimmy pointed at the belt. Oos, I don't care about the belt. I don't care about you being the Universal Champion. Said he cares about his brother and his family. He told Roman he's been doing this his whole life. Said he doesn't want to take his place. He said, one day you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. And he'll be inducted in the Hall of Fame as a spoiled bitch, is what he said. Reigns looked at Jay and asked if he sees what he's doing. As Jimmy started to yell, Jay told him, enough. I had enough of this. I am tired of the both of you. He says, I'm out of here. And he stormed out. Jimmy asks Roman if he realizes what he's done. He says he doesn't care anymore. He's ready to throw down. He's ready to throw fists with Roman Reigns. I had a glimmer of hope that this may be leading to a Hell in a Cell with both of them at the pay-per-view. I was disappointed. He's ready to throw down. Reigns then asks Jimmy, incredulously, if he wants to fight him. Do you really want to fight me? Reigns says they aren't little kids anymore. He said, this is family business and their livelihood. He said they make their decisions with their hearts based on how to best represent their family. He said they're twins, but who came out first? He said if he's the older one, he shouldn't have to depend on Jay to rein him in. He said it's not about either of them, it's about all of them. He said they have to continue to be themselves and be the best. Why would you do that to him? He said to Jimmy. His voice started to really get kind of sympathetic. Why would you do that to him? This guilt trip that Roman Reigns was putting on Jimmy Uso, one has to wonder if it worked. He said he elevated himself for a full year while you were out, and now look at what you, the selfish one, did to him. What did you expect him to do while you were gone? That's what pretty much Roman Reigns was saying. This is our family. Make this right with us, he says. Jimmy, at the end of all of listening to Reigns, looked like he felt guilty. So this manipulation trip that Roman Reigns projected onto Jimmy Uso seemingly has worked. Then Reigns heard that Rey wanted him in the ring. He let Jimmy go and talk to Jay. I guess we'll find out. That's the cliffhanger for next week. And then he was going to go out and confront Rey Mysterio in the ring for the main event segment. Rey was already out there in the ring. He called Reigns to the ring. He said he disrespected the Mysterio family. So he's waiting on Reigns to come out and face him man-to-man, face-to-face. Roman Reigns had a long-winded segment here on SmackDown. A Roman sucks chant rang out on the virtual screens inside the Thunderdome with the virtual geeks, which, thank God, I don't have to look at in less than a month's time anymore. This is what you wanted to hear. I acknowledge you, Roman, for the rat bastard that you are. Rey challenged him to a match at Hell in a Cell. Inside Hell in a Cell. He asks Reigns to acknowledge him and accept his challenge. Reigns says he acknowledges him as a father. Rey then attacked Reigns with a kendo stick, which was, I guess, something he pulled out of his fucking jeans. Don't know where that came from, but he had it, I guess, stowed away somewhere behind him. Attacked Roman Reigns with a mysterious kendo stick, and Rey was going to town on Roman Reigns. So Reigns fought back, lifted Rey, but Reigns pounded the little Rey Mysterio, but Rey kept fighting back with the kendo stick. Reigns threw Rey out of the ring. Now, when Rey returned, Reigns gave him a Superman punch. Dominik Mysterio came out of nowhere and attacked Roman Reigns. I thought he was so badly hurt, and Rey Mysterio was crying over the punishment that Roman Reigns brought upon his son. Oh my God, Dominik is back. There you go. So Dominik is back. He attacked Roman Reigns, but Reigns picked him up and lawn darted him out over the ring, stage side, with a power bomb over the top rope. I don't know how this was filmed, if this was a cinematic thing or Dominik took this fucking bump, but the camera work here was fucking beautiful. If everybody wants to know, this is exactly what I was talking about. This is just something, listen, man, we can make fun of fucking the beaver tooth-faced fuck all we want. We can make fun of fucking, Kevin Dunn all we want. We can make fun of him every single time we got an opportunity. But this is what he does best. This was exactly what I was talking about when we were discussing Blood and Guts, the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle, and the spot off the cage. If WWE can do this with something so simple, like a power bomb over the top rope on Dominik, not showing you the actual bump, but showing you the image of what's going on there without actually showing you the legit move, it still is as impactful as if you watched him legitimately heave Dominik over the ropes and you physically saw him hit the mat outside. This is what AEW should have done. And this is why Kevin Dunn, we can make fun of him all we want, but this is a guy who is a master at his fucking profession. That's exactly what should have been done. So Dominik, with this powerbomb over the top rope, he was selling the fuck out of this powerbomb. He was legitimately shriveled up, fucking just skeeving all over the floor. It was awesome. The ending of SmackDown was awesome. Reigns kicked Rey in the ring, and Rey was thrown into the fucking steel steps and the barricade. He destroyed the Mysterios once again. And it wasn't confirmed, but I'm assuming by his actions, he did accept Rey Mysterio's challenge for a Universal Championship match inside Hell in a Cell. But that is where we're going. Rey and Reigns. Mysterio and Reigns inside Hell in a Cell. I mentioned this on the OTS Extra that I did a couple of days ago. I'm not a big fan of this match happening. In fact, if you're asking me, I don't even think Reigns needs to compete at Hell in a Cell. First of all, you moved Hell in a Cell from October to June for one specific reason, and that was the Usos. But now we're not utilizing the Usos in Hell in a Cell, and it makes it look like Hell in a Cell was just expendable as far as pay-per-views go. Yeah, let's move it from here to here. Nobody gives a shit about it if it's in October. They're not really going to give a shit if we move it to June. That's the vibe I got here. But you had moved it to June for what I thought was the Usos. Putting Jimmy or Jay inside Hell in a Cell, giving me Jimmy and Reigns inside Hell in a Cell and having him go the same path that Jay did, where Jay acknowledged Roman Reigns and accepted him as the tribal chief. But now we're putting Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns inside Hell in a Cell with a match and a feud that is barely going to be 2 weeks in. I don't really grasp that. Yes, Reigns beat the shit out of Rey and his son. Yes, Reigns brutalized Mysterio's family. It's fine. That doesn't mean that we need to put it inside Hell in a Cell. The Hell in a Cell is a gimmick match that sells a feud's conclusion. It is a gimmick match that is a match to settle blood feuds that have been boiling up for months. It's not really designed because Rey wants to get revenge on Reigns for what he did to Dominik, and it's not designed for feuds that barely are alive for 2 weeks. As far as I'm concerned, Reigns and Rey Mysterio, I don't mind it taking place at Hell in a Cell. By all means, have a blast. You could get the same story out of how great Reigns is as a character and the amount of storytelling that he's given us with this character. You could get the same mileage out of whatever you got planned at Hell in a Cell without Hell in a Cell. So why do we need the structure when all it's going to do is prohibit us from watching the story the way it really needs to unfold? It's just a background that's not going to be utilized. You're using a gimmick for the sake of using a gimmick, and the gimmick doesn't even really factor into what these guys got going on. Mysterio is nothing more than a transitional feud to get Reigns to Cena at SummerSlam. We may get this match again at Money in the Bank, but at that point, who gives a shit? We all know the outcome. We all know the outcome. I don't really appreciate WWE using the Hell in a Cell gimmick to sell this when it doesn't need any additional sell. Dominik and Rey don't need Hell in a Cell against Reigns because Reigns, with the storyteller that he's become, could tell a greater story outside Hell in a Cell than in it. It's nothing more than WWE needing a Hell in a Cell match because you built your entire fucking pay-per-view off this dead gimmick. As far as I'm concerned, Seth and Cesaro belong inside Hell in a Cell more than Reigns and Rey Mysterio. I do got some news on Roman Reigns. 2 quick pieces of information. There will be big plans. I know I touched upon this, but it's still being reported. They got major plans. SummerSlam is going to be the Bloodlines night, meaning Jimmy, Jay, and Roman Reigns. A WWE source told WrestlingNews.co that the plan obviously is to build Roman Reigns up so fans see him on the level of John Cena and The Rock, but this is also about making Jimmy and Jay look strong, and we will get there with all 3 by SummerSlam. This will be a tight-knit unit in a few months. There have been plans to bring Jimmy into Reigns' stable since late last year, and they heard WrestlingNews.co from sources about discussions about bringing in another person at some point. Who that may be, I don't know, but a lot of people have been mentioning Naomi. I think adding the wife of Jimmy Uso is a good situation. I think a female presence in that group that is family would go a long way. And it would bring Naomi to a level where I think a lot of fans think she should be at. Another WWE source said SummerSlam will be a big night for Roman, Jimmy, and Jay Uso. So that is the plan right now. Don't be surprised if you see Reigns still the Universal Champion, which, I mean, should be a definite at this point, no matter who you talk to. If you want Reigns to lose that championship, you are a part of the problem. And then Jimmy and Jay beating the Mysterios at SummerSlam for the tag team championships. That's the only thing I am really excited about as far as this Reigns and Mysterio feud. It's going to get the Mysterios into the Usos, and then the Usos are going to take the tag team championships, and the storyline here with the Mysterios and the Usos, or the Bloodline, is going to continue through the Usos until the Usos take those tag team championships. That's the only good thing that I'm looking forward to coming out of this entire Reigns and Mysterio situation. But don't be surprised if SummerSlam is built around all 3 of those men. And Roman Reigns, This isn't really news, but I find it to be quite indicative of what we see of Roman Reigns on television right now. Roman Reigns shoots demands. This is him legitimately talking to creative. Demands to creative. This happened on the Wrestling Observer. Dave Meltzer said this in regards to Roman Reigns. He wants to be on either first or last and nothing in between. Sounds like a good deal to me. You put the most important first or the most important last. That's a big argument right now with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns will either go on first or he will either go on last. He will refuse to go anywhere else. That is a shoot. He doesn't want to go anywhere but first because that's okay. Or last, which is preferable because he's the main event. He's the Universal Champion. And he doesn't want to go second or fourth or second from the top. End quote. That's a shoot. I believe Meltzer in every word that he said there about Roman Reigns. Why? Because that's the level in which he's operating right now. And as far as Roman Reigns shooting demands to WWE Creative, I believe it because that is a man that is confident in himself and what he's done so far. And he knows it because he hears it, he sees the reaction online. He knows the level of work that he's doing. And he knows that if he needs to continue doing what he's doing, he cannot have any mishaps along the way. You cannot have any misrepresentation along the way for Roman Reigns. It's either first, because he knows that if he goes on first, nobody's going to follow him, or he goes on last because he's the Universal Champion and he's the most important guy in the entire company. That is fucking confidence coming from Roman Reigns. And you talk about a legit shoot. I believe every single word coming out of that report from Dave Meltzer. Guys, that is your SmackDown coverage right here on Off the Script. We will take a little bit of a break. I will be right back with your AEW Dynamite coverage and review right here on the OTS Super Show for Friday Night SmackDown and Friday Night AEW Dynamite. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. This is the second half of your Off the Script Super Show for June 11th, 2021. AEW Dynamite tonight wasn't terrible. Wasn't a bad show. It was entertaining like they usually are. But, you know, a lot of people are making a big deal about these Friday Night Dynamite shows. Oh, AEW's dying. AEW's in the can. Tony Khan's a failure. Yada, yada, yada. It's amazing to me how many people are out there that want this fucking place to fail. It's very bizarre to me that you want something so badly to go wrong that has absolutely no negative impact on your life. I don't really get it. Like, what do you get out of AEW failing? The random egg on Twitter. The fucking social media geek degenerate on Twitter. Like, what do you get out of AEW failing? I don't get it. I got people making a big deal about these ratings. They barely cracked 500,000 the first week. Then they were below 500,000 the second week. Motherfucker, they're preempted. They're not on a typical Wednesday night at 8 p.m. where they're getting 800, 900,000 viewers. And you can tell that AEW and Tony Khan are booking these shows not seriously. They're not going to give you all of their eggs in one basket on these fucking Dynamite shows that air Friday night. Like, legitimately, who's watching besides me? Because I got a job to do. And like all these other geeks in the community because they got content to create. I may be the only geek in Austin, Texas, watching pro wrestling till 11 o'clock, their time here. While everybody is out bar hopping and fucking eating Mexican food and doing whatever they got to do in the night here in Austin, Texas. I'm watching number 10 in the main event against Brian Cage and Powerhouse Will Hobbs. Who gives a shit? They don't care about these shows. They do to an extent, but TNT is not going to hold it against them. Tony Khan is brushing it off. While Tony Khan is counting billions in his bank account, you're caring about a measly rating that will factor into nothing at the end of the week. They're on Friday at 10 o'clock. Nobody is watching pro wrestling on Friday at 10 Eastern till 12 midnight. Many of the AEW elitists, they may go out. They may go out and have a good time. But they have everything DVR'd, I'm sure. So tonight's show wasn't that bad. We got a TNT Championship match with Miro and Mr. Evil Uno. We got Pac and Penta against the Young Bucks again, but this time was a six-man tag. Brandon Cutler was involved. We got Eddie Kingston involved. And we got more Pinnacle and Inner Circle drama. Seems to be continuing to Jesse's delight. We got more Pinnacle and Inner Circle. So we'll go over all that quickly before we get on out of here, guys. Show started off with Christian Cage and Angelico in the opening match. Not bad. Some chain wrestling early on. You can tell, just by this match, you could tell that they don't really care about the quality of content on Friday Night Dynamite. I don't think we would see this match if this was a legit live show that we're going to be getting from Miami on July 7th. Just bear with it for a couple of weeks. It'll be all over. I can't wait for them to move back to Wednesday night myself. Christian Cage defeated Angelico. They chain wrestled in the start, and then Christian fought back with a couple of strikes and a sunset flip. Angelico turned it into a Navarro death roll before landing a soccer kick. He locked on a modified submission hold, forcing Christian to reach the ropes to break it. Christian made his comeback, his babyface comeback, with a reverse DDT. And a missile dropkick later from Christian got a 2 count. Angelico sent Christian to the floor. Jack Evans tried to get involved, but Christian scared him away. Hit a neck breaker over the ropes. Diving headbutt followed with a near fall for a 2 count. Angelico wrenched Christian's arm to take him down. Christian countered with a dive with an up kick and cradled him for 2. And then we got a kick and a jackknife pin from Angelico for a near fall of his own. They pretty much nailed each other head first on a ripcord, and that led to a double down. Christian avoided a corner attack, hit a big kick, followed by a diving uppercut. He went for the kill switch, stared at Hardy, hit it for the win. 1, 2, 3, he pins Angelico in the opening match of Dynamite. So Jack Evans is on the outside. He comes in, he attacks after the match. Christian fought him off. Hardy used the numbers advantage on Christian Cage, hit a twist of fate. Jungle Boy ran out to make the save. So more Hardy and Christian drama. I'm assuming we're going to get that for a live broadcast when they go back on the road and finally get out of Daly's place. That should be nice for the live AEW audience to eat up for a little bit. And we got more Jungle Boy. We got more Jungle Boy and Christian. I do think that this is setting up because Jungle Boy came out after the kill switch was hit. So he didn't really make the save. He just chased all the other heels away. But the damage was already done. I do think Jungle Boy is being set up for a nice heel turn by Christian Cage. I think Christian Cage is going to screw him out of that World Championship match from Kenny Omega on that Saturday Night Dynamite. I just feel it. I think that's the right way to go about it as well. Everybody loves Jungle Boy. I think Christian right now, the lukewarm reaction that he's gotten since coming back is not really resonating with me. It's not really resonating with anybody. I do think that he is better off heel. I think his mannerisms are better off as a heel. I think his work is better off as a heel, not only on the mic, but in the ring as well. I think we get a heel turn. I think it's right. His babyface return was botched. Let's be real. And I know I keep mentioning it, but it was. Now it's time to fix it. Heel turn fixes everything. You can always turn him back to being a babyface. It always works. And it will work with Christian. We had a Cody Rhodes interview. Shivani announced Brock, not Lesnar. Everybody was anticipating Lesnar to be said. And Tony Schiavone, man, that sly devil, Tony Schiavone, he did it on purpose. Brock, ... Anderson, who is eerily similar facially. It's like fucking ridiculous, man. It's like looking at a mirror image of his father. Brock Anderson, the son of Arn, would be making his debut next week in a tag team match. Oh, look at that. Cody Rhodes is putting over somebody. Oh, man. Let's throw a fucking parade, huh? Teaming with Cody Rhodes against QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. He brought out Cody, Arn, and Brock did Shivani. Cody said that next week Brock would steal home base and hit a home run. It's a tough standard that dads have for us, but if anyone can do it, Brock can. Cody wants revenge himself, considering last week he was beaten by Anthony Onogo. So out comes QT Marshall, is now the pronunciation of his name as if he's some higher being. So he came out, interrupted, said that he pinned Cody in the middle of the ring all by himself, just like he came out here all by himself. Told Cody he had enough with the nepotism and the passion projects. When they go back on the road, Marshall wants to fight him with a full house in a South Beach strap match. Should be good. Should be good. Hopefully it puts an end to this fucking bullshit between QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes. And I think the live fans will eat that up. It should be a brutal affair, but we'll see what happens. Cody says he wants to do the match now, but cooler heads will prevail. Marshall whipped Arn with his belt, so he whipped the old man. Brock took Marshall down with a looking Fez press. I don't know, man. I don't know how much training Brock Anderson has, but we'll see what happens next week. Keep a close eye on it. Anthony Ogogo didn't do that bad, so I'm pretty much expecting more of the same from Brock Anderson on Friday Night Dynamite next week with Cody Rhodes. Will Cody put over Brock? We'll see. He didn't put over Ogogo. He didn't put over Pentagon. He has a difficult time putting over anybody. He may not even put over his own daughter. We don't know. We'll see what happens with Cody Rhodes. But next week, we've got a tag team match. Solo and Marshall versus Cody and Brock. Anderson. Moving on. We got Eddie Kingston, Pac, and Pentagon Jr. against the Young Bucks, Matt, Nick, and Brandon Cutler, the intern. This was good. Brandon Cutler was being beaten down. He was clearly in this match to be a toy for the baby faces and the heels, I should say, because they didn't really do much work until the end of the match. So the Bucks obviously got in there and they took control over the baby faces. Pac kicked his way out of trouble to get to Eddie Kingston, who got the hot tag. Kingston was in there with Matt Jackson, flying with a belly-to-belly before taking Nick out with an exploder. Penta then tagged in, diving crossbody on both Matt and Nick Jackson. Cutler controlled Penta, but Penta got out of the way on a double super kick. Penta rolled out of a Cazadora into a destroyer on Nick. And then Cutler, he obviously was still in the match here, swept out Penta's legs, but inadvertently ate a kick from Matt by accident for his troubles. Penta hit a backstabber on the ring apron. Cutler ran in, broke up the pin. Pac tagged in. Kingston stopped Cutler from hitting Pac with the camera again, just like last week. We got all these big moves, and we got a top rope move from Penta, a step up enziguri from Penta. Pac hit a 450 splash on Matt, transitioned into a brutalizer. Nick broke it up. Kingston cut off Nick with a boot. Then he and Pac hit stereo dives to the outside. Matt rolled Pac up with a handful of tights for a very good-looking near fall. Pac laid in some kicks, but a kick from Nick allowed Matt to hit an enziguri-assisted buckle bomb. Cutler then tagged in. Pac avoided a springboard leg drop. Kingston killed Cutler with a spinning back fist, allowing Pac to pin him for the 1, 2, 3. So after last week's tag team title match and the babyfaces losing, they get their victory here, 50-50 booking, believe it or not. I can't really sit here and agree with it, but it is what it is. Brandon Cutler was in there. At least the Bucks didn't take a loss as tag team champions on Dynamite. It's not full WWE yet, but it is 50-50 booking in the way WWE typically does things. The Bucks immediately attacked after the match, and they were joined by the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, who almost seemed like an afterthought in this entire thing. Not really much coming from them as far as their inclusion in the elite here. Maybe they're waiting for something. I don't know. Frankie Kazarian, the elite killer, or the elite hunter, ran out, and he evened the odds. He took Cutler out with a running lariat, and more punishment to Brandon Cutler, who was pretty much only in this match to take punishment and take the pinfall. Don't know where we go from here. It's just more AEW biding time until we get back live on the road with Dynamite. Very good action, and that's all it really is. It's not really leading into anything specific, or it's not really taking the storyline to the next level. Just good, old-fashioned six-man tag team action. I don't know what else to say. The Pinnacle. They're in the ring. This was excellent. This was easily, as always, the pinnacle of Dynamite. Pun intended. So they're all out there. Dax Harwood said that the Stadium Stampede didn't go the way that they wanted it to go. He said, a match like that really doesn't fit guys like us. You know, it's like a jobber match. It's a low-class type of match. So he calls out Santana and Ortiz, saying that they and FTR, they're not really all that different. They both overcame adversity and made something of themselves. The difference is that Santana and Ortiz lost their edge. So they mentioned they've been in AEW for 2 years. And how many times have you won the tag team championships? None. Harwood got a wife and a kid, and he uses his edge to fill his bank account and support his family. Wheeler says he doesn't have a family, and he doesn't give a shit about Santana and Ortiz and if they have a family of their own. I don't have a family. I'm not going to give a shit about your family. That's pretty much what he said. FTR works together to build their legacy while Santana and Ortiz are happy being a footnote. It's going to be a great feud when it happens, man. And the tag team titles will definitely be on the line at some point. This here in AEW is going to be what Penta and Phoenix were to LAX in Impact. This tag team feud right here. Santana and Ortiz, some of the greatest tag team wars of the modern era happened with Penta and Phoenix. And could still very well be, because they told me when I interviewed them with the CNC, both of them, that Penta and Phoenix are going to be their fight forever type of tag team. But I get vibes of that from this. This is exactly what that's going to be. It is. This is what it's going to be. Penta and Phoenix, for what they did with Santana Ortiz and Impact, is going to be that very same thing between these two teams in AEW. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Sean Spears, cut a great promo here. He was in the ring. He said that Guevara got lucky. Sammy got lucky. It's ridiculous that Jericho called him a hero last week. Guevara is nothing more than a glorified indie wrestler. The Pinnacle are professionals, and Spears is the hero. Wardlow got on the microphone, who I really think cuts a great promo. I do. Wardlow said that Hager is obsessed with him. He brings out the best in Jake Hager. Hager invited Wardlow to his comfort zone because he knows he could never beat Wardlow in a wrestling ring. No matter where they are, they're always in Wardlow's world. He accepts Hager's challenge for the cage fight next week. MJF, he is tired of acting like he has something to prove. He's just tired of it all when he's already the best in AEW. Being the best is daunting. It brings pressure. He grew up idolizing Jericho. He watched every promo, read every book. He recalled back to 2019 after the Double or Nothing rally in Jacksonville. MJF said he saw Jericho backstage. His heart was beating 1,000,000 miles a minute because he never had the opportunity to work with Jericho. That should have been a dream come true, but it wasn't. That haunted MJF that night until it hit him. He had been idolizing a false god. He thought he would be like Jericho, but Jericho's not even on MJF's level. He's already beaten Jericho twice, so his match request is denied. MJF says no. MJF then addressed Guevara, calling him a chicken shit. Guevara doesn't belong in a ring with him because he's better than him, and he knows it. So this clearly prompted the Inner Circle, who appeared on the big screen. Jericho was on the video screen. Pinnacle knows that they're in some deep shit, and the Inner Circle is about to bring it. They can talk it over as they are walking home from Daly's place. What does that mean? The camera moved over and saw all of the Inner Circle standing next to the Pinnacle's limousine with sledgehammers, knives, spray paint, and Floyd the Bat. Santana slashed the tires. Ortiz spray painted something on the side of the limousine. We had everybody smashing windows with bats and sledgehammers. And the fucked up thing of it all is Jake Hager drove a forklift into the limousine and absolutely destroyed the limousine. And half of the siding on the limousine was completely missing from the vehicle. This was great. This was hilariously fucking entertaining and fantastic. It almost reminded me, did you ever watch the episode of Family Guy where Peter is standing by the ocean and he sees the dead whale with the forklift and he starts to pick it up and he keeps dropping it and he wants to bring it back to the ocean, but he keeps dropping it and he is maneuvering the forklift in all these different positions to try and lift up the whale, but he can't do it. So this is what it reminded me of. The scene from Family Guy with Peter and the fucking whale and the forklift. Hilarious. I thought this was fantastic. A lot of people are over the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle, but if they keep churning out entertaining skits like this, yeah, it's redundant. Yeah, it's repetitive, but it's entertaining. And they all cut great promos. So how could you complain? It's not going anywhere anytime soon, folks. We got till at least All Out. If it still is happening after All Out, then you're going to hear from me. No question. Darby Allin, he answered Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page challenge. He says he's not going to replace Sting next week, but he wants a handicap match instead. He told Sting to stay home. Sting looked concerned, but Allin said, I'm not stupid. And he wants to prove it to them that he can beat both of them by himself. Sting said Allen's got nothing to prove. I walked in here and you were already the TNT champion. You have nothing to prove to me or anybody else. You've already proved it. Allin told Sting, stay home. After some hesitation, Sting said, you know what? Fine. I respect you. You respect me. Put out his fist bumped. He's not coming. Sting is not going to be in Darby's corner at all next week. But I have a feeling he will be. I do. I don't see how this plays into Darby being smart. He says he's not stupid, but he's not really bright if he's accepting a match like this after these guys almost brutally killed him by throwing him down a flight of concrete stairs inside Daly's place. I mean, give me a break. It almost seems like they're setting up for Sting to be there watching his back when he already told him he's not going to be there. How does this make Darby look? It makes Darby look like a valiant babyface, but it also makes him look like a stupid babyface, because when valiant babyfaces do this, they pretty much expose themselves as being stupid. How do you think this is going to turn out? 2-on-1? It's not really going to end up being a good night of work for Darby Allin. But he's a babyface and people love him. And he wants to prove to Sting that he can hold his weight as well. We'll see what happens. Seen a video of Evil Uno talking about his relationship with Brody Lee. I rolled my eyes. He called him one of his best friends. Uno would be thrilled to see any Dark Order member win the TNT Championship, but he selfishly wants to do it for himself. He wants to make Brody Lee proud by winning the TNT Championship. Folks, I have to admit, I'm a fan of Evil Uno. I'm a fan of Johnny Hungy. I'm a fan of number 10, Preston Vance. He's becoming very good in the ring. I love Evil Uno and Stu Grayson together. I think they are highly underutilized as a tag team in AEW. But if I was to recommend something to AEW and the Dark Order and Tony Khan, can we stop using Brody Lee's image and mention of Brody Lee? Can we keep that out of all the Dark Order things moving forward? We don't need any Dark Order members paying homage to Brody Lee. We don't need any Dark Order members using, moves made famous by Brody Lee. We don't need any dedication to Brody Lee as far as matches go and them saying, I'm going to win this one for Brody. when Brody's not a loser. So stop doing all of this for Brody Lee's memory and in his honor when every time the Dark Order does it, they lose. So who exactly are you honoring? You're honoring being a loser. It doesn't look good. It's actually quite cringe if you think about it. If you're going to honor Brody Lee, have it be something that, I don't know, has one of the Dark Order members goes over in a big match for said TNT Championship. Have them say it and then follow up on that request. I don't get it. They're trying to be all wholesome and fucking caring, but it doesn't look good. That's just my takeaway there. Miro defeated Evil Uno. This was a very good match. Evil Uno, again, underrated. Highly, highly underrated as Evil Uno. Miro cut Uno off with a back suplex, beating him down with his brute strength, the Bulgarian brute. Back in the ring, running shoulder block from Miro, sent Uno to the floor. Stu Grayson and Alan Angels ran out to fire Uno up. Uno barely made it back in the ring at a 9 count because Miro was completely in control. So Miro rolled to the floor and sent Grayson over the barricade before pursuing Alan Angels. Get the fuck out of here. Just get out of here, man. Let Uno take care of himself. Uno came back with a jawbreaker before laying in some forearms. A running Hurricane took Miro down, and he did the Brody Lee-esque big boot. Can we please stop? Really, stop. Uno climbed to the top rope, landed a senton atomico. Miro kicked out at 1. And then the rest of the Dark Order ran out to stand on the stage with -1 cheering them all on, leading them all on there. Uno stomped on Miro's hands, landed another forearm. Miro caught him in a crossbody and rolled Uno up for a 2 after the crossbody attempt. Miro was sent into the turnbuckle on the kickout, and Uno covered for a good near fall there. Uno called for, again, a throwback to Brody Lee and his discus lariat. So he nailed Miro with the discus lariat. Miro shrugged him off and leveled Uno with a lariat of his own. And then he locked in the game over, and he really wrenched it back, forcing Evil Uno to tap, and that was it. Nobody expected Evil Uno to win the TNT Championship, and the Dark Order continued to look like losers. No more needs to be said. Very good match. Probably the best thing on the entire show, besides the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle segment. But I will say this about Miro, man. It is amazing how the transformation of Miro has been so drastic. This guy came in with so much hype around him, being fucking buried in WWE, coming into AEW, seeking a new lease on life. They pair him with Kip Sabian. He does absolutely nothing. He's been ruined for about 6 months in his first stint in AEW. And then all of a sudden, Kip Sabian goes away. They disband. No more best man, right? And now Miro's all by himself. He's TNT champion. And his booking as of late has been picture perfect. So whoever's been in charge of Miro, whether it's Tony Khan, whether it's a collective of people working with Miro, whether it's Miro himself, he looks fucking great. This is the best I think I've seen him since he first found success in WWE, where he and Lana were at the top of their game, right before they got buried by John Cena. But this is brilliant booking for Miro. So whoever's doing what they're doing here deserves a firm handshake. It's amazing how far he's come from being where he was with Kip and now seeing where he is now. It's a great thing to see. I think AEW is doing a fantastic job with Miro so far as TNT champion. We've seen a beautiful video package of Andrade El Idolo. And he was putting on a suit. He was putting on a dress shirt, a jacket, almost looked like a pinstripe Yankee stripe suit. Put his lucha chain on. He was wearing jewelry, put on some black gloves. He's the Latino Mexican hitman in AEW. He's the face of the Latinos. Andrade El Idolo. This was a great video package. He looks great. He looks better than great. He looks fucking fantastic. He's getting ready to sit down next week with an exclusive Jim Ross interview. Andre El Iglu is getting interviewed next week. Should be good. Will Jim Ross get his name right? I don't know. Sure, he's home now, practicing in the mirror. Andrade El Idolo. Should be good. Kenny Omega and Don Callis. Oh, I got news on Kenny Omega, man. I got news on good old Kenny Omega. Apparently, Mr. Omega, the AEW World Champion, is hurt. Not only is the AEW World Champion, he's the Impact World Champion, AAA Mega Champion, but he's reportedly hurting pretty badly these days. I don't know how likely this is. I don't know how true this is, but Omega is said to be hurting pretty badly right now, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. In addition to a stomach virus from this past week, Omega is also suffering from a deep bone bruise near his tailbone, an athletic hernia, and normal wear and tear on his knees. Omega also sliced up his hand and needed 7 stitches to close the wound when delivering a belt shot to Pac in the Double or Nothing main event on May 30th, which saw him retain the AEW World title over Pac and Orange Cassidy. Now, the injury occurred on the 4th belt shot, as the AEW belt is especially sharp, says Dave Meltzer. It was noted that Omega has been in a lot of pain while getting through his recent top matches. He noted at AEW Double or Nothing Fan Fest that there were days where he woke up, he walked around, and he was thinking to himself that it's close to the time where he should hang up his boots and retire because his body is feeling worse. He also noted that having real fans in the crowd also makes him feel a lot better when he's performing. Omega is scheduled to defend his Impact title this Saturday against Moose at Against All Odds. That match will take place at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, obvious home of AEW, instead of the Skyway Studios in Nashville where Impact tapes their shows usually. Now, the winner of that match will wrestle Sami Callihan at Impact's Slammiversary pay-per-view on July 17th. So I'm figuring we could assume that Kenny Omega versus Sami Callihan is going to be the match at Slammiversary, and they already have my money on that match alone. That was one of the matches that I wanted to see with this partnership, and they're giving it to us in July. Take my money. How banged up can Kenny Omega be if he's wrestling Moose, Sammy, and Jungle Boy in consecutive weeks? If he's banged up now, he may be near death after Sami Callihan gets through with him. How banged up could he be? We've been hearing about these rumors for months now. Is Omega fit to finish this Forbidden Door storyline? All I know is when this Forbidden Door finally closes, Omega's not going to be seen for a good year. He's going home to rehabilitate and heal his wounds. They're going to get every bit of mileage out of him as they can right now. He's also got the match with Andrade in August. He will defend the AAA Mega title against Andrade El Idolo at the Triple Mania show. That's Saturday, August 14th. And then obviously, we got Double or Nothing. So Omega's summer is booked completely. If he's hurting bad now, like I said before, he may not even be alive when the summer is over. There's no word yet on Omega plans and if he's going to take time off to heal his nagging injuries, but obviously I will keep you posted on what's going on with Kenny Omega. That sucks to hear, man. That really is terrible to hear. Now, there was news about other injuries. Might as well get into all this now before we go on with the rest of the review. I really do want to get out of here because I would rather be in a live atmosphere. Now, recording videos like this, it's passe, man. This is old OTS, but I hope you guys enjoyed anyway. Rey Fenix out 6 to 8 weeks with a groin injury. Bodyslam.net is reporting that he will be out for 6 to 8 weeks. He suffered a groin injury. Meltzer had previously reported in the Observer newsletter that Mr. Rey Fenix would be unable to compete at Double or Nothing. Obviously, he wasn't there. The injury Fenix is suffering is reportedly to have stemmed from a recent match in Mexico. I don't know why these guys like that anyway, are continuing to go out and kill themselves away from AEW. If I'm Tony Khan, I'm pissed. Like, this guy was a big deal before joining AEW, and I figured he would be given the world to stay in AEW and make enough money to just work AEW. Why do you need to continue to go out to Mexico and work and kill yourself when you got Tony Khan who's willing to give you the world? I don't get it. Why are you killing yourself when you don't need to anymore? Save yourself for all of the memorable shit you could do in AEW. So now he's out 6 weeks, 8 weeks with a groin injury. For what? He would have been in the Battle Royal at Double or Nothing. I mean, that's not really Rey Fenix-esque. I mean, Penta was there, but he would have been there right alongside his brother. Phoenix and Penta's other partner, Pac, in the Death Triangle, they unsuccessfully, him and Cassidy, failed to capture the AEW Championship in the main event of Double or Nothing. So Phoenix is going to be out for a couple more weeks. Hopefully he gets back and maybe he can stay uninjured for a longer string of time. Andrade. There was news on Andrade. Obviously, you guys heard August 14th, him and Omega. Take my money. Sure we'll see it in AEW as well. Andrade demanded creative control before signing with AEW. This was debunked. I want you guys to be fully aware of this story right now. This was debunked. For those that read this story, Raj Giri of Wrestling Inc. Raj is a cool guy. I met him a few times at some AEW events, and he's always been nice to me. Andrade reportedly asked for creative control of what he does, who he works with, and who he wins over, who he beats in AEW. Now, he wants to work with other companies, which I'm assuming he will be allowed to do. There are talks of working Impact as well. They are willing to agree on creative control demands for Andrade to bring him on in. They were too far apart on money where he and Impact. He still wants to work with other companies, but as of right now, the money isn't there for him. And they're not going to offer Andrade that level of money to come on in. So that's where Tony Khan comes in. They agreed on a deal. But it was reported that Tony Khan and Andrade met and creative control was given to Andrade. Then it was debunked because Raj Giri got it wrong. And he says this, and I quote, "As I reported over the weekend, Andrade first met with AEW President Tony Khan in Florida the week he was released from his WWE contract in late March. Khan was interested in signing Andrade immediately, given that he did not have a 90-day non-compete. However, a deal wasn't made. I had noted that negotiations stalled because of Andrade's demands, which included wanting creative control and veto power on losing. Andrade also wanted to work for other companies outside of WWE. However, I had incorrectly reported that Andrade's final deal had some limited creative control. We are told that Andrade's deal with AEW does not have any creative control. It was also noted that no one in AEW has creative control over the contracts, as Khan has total control over everything creative. I have fixed the original article, and I apologize for the error." So if everybody thinking that Andrade has creative control, it is debunked, ladies and gentlemen. You have nothing to worry about, and that would be bad news because that little aspect there, that little nugget of information, doesn't really sit well with others in the back. Nobody should have creative control, period. Only the people in charge of creative. You are there to do a job and entertain. You are not there to put yourself over others in AEW, especially where it's more family-based environment backstage. That would go over poorly. Nobody wants that type of drama backstage where one thing leads to another and then it's a war zone in the locker room. Nobody wants that. Moving on with the rest of the review, man. We got Kenny Omega out here. He and Don Callis are out there, called Jungle Boy one-hit wonder for outlasting 20 men in a battle royal, just like his theme song. Omega's not going to act like Jungle Boy is some incredible challenger for the title, but he can't bring himself to say anything disparaging about him because he sees a little bit of Omega in himself. One day, Jungle Boy might be a champion, but there's something Jungle Boy is missing. Omega asked Jungle Boy, or what about Jungle Boy is missing? And Callis says he doesn't have the guts. So Jungle Boy's music played. The light crowd in Daly's place sang along. Omega says he's surprised. He's never known Jungle Boy to be a promo guy. He knows Jungle Boy has nothing to say because he doesn't have the guts. He asked Callis if anyone was better than Omega on the microphone, And Callis told Omega, no one is better than you on the microphone. He gave Jungle Boy 5 seconds to speak, and Jungle Boy pretty much said to Omega, you talk way too much. Omega tried to take a cheap shot at Jungle Boy with the microphone. Jungle Boy avoided it. Omega raked Jungle Boy's eyes, and then Jack Perry fought out and tried to lock Omega in the snare track, but the Young Bucks ran out to make the save. I'm looking forward to that match. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal, and I have been loving the work of Jungle Boy since he hasn't really split from Luchasaurus, but they're pushing him heavy, and I'm wanting to see him move up and up and up. And I think this match with Omega is going to move him up to a point where he's never been before. I'm very much looking forward to it. And that little Christian Cage caveat, is he going to turn on Jungle Boy? We'll see. Jade Cargill and Mark Sterling cut a promo. Sterling said that Cargill's revenue was up by 43%. Wow, that's a lot more than the Monday Night Raw ratings. The Monday Night Raw ratings were down 43% from what I heard. Got to get my Raw shots in there, man. One of these days it's going to be up, and then I'm going to have no material. They've gotten rid of the hangers-on and the bamboozlers. I like that word, man, bamboozled. The bamboozlers. Cargill got a family to feed, and they're ensuring she can feed them. They lead a lavish lifestyle. Cargill said that they should capitalize on her catchphrase as well, because there are others who are trying to phrase it as their own. Charlotte Flair. I'm that bitch. Which Charlotte is not. I'd gladly take Jade any day over Charlotte Flair. Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, they were cutting a promo. They gave Allen an opportunity, but he didn't take it. This is the dumbest decision Darby Allin has ever made in his entire life. Page says these actions will have consequences. They've already done all these things to Allin. What he's going to do when they pin him in the middle of the ring, it's only up from here for the men of the year. I like that. It's only up from here for the men of the year. I like it. Scorpio Sky loved it so much, he's like, ooh, that was a good one. Snapped his fingers and the promo ended. Jesse had to like that one. He doesn't have to like Darby Allin or fucking Scorpio Sky or Ethan Page, but that was a great line. It's only up from here for the men of the year. Come on, man. You gotta like that one. Lance Archer killed some fucking poor, hopeless jobber. So we're back to Lance Archer's squash matches. His name was Chandler Hopkins. Back to the hospital you go, Chandler. Nyla Rose defeated Layla Hirsch. I would be lying to you if I actually paid attention to this match. I didn't. Nyla Rose, she had something. I don't know what it is. And you're not going to get me to care about her by putting her in the ring with DMD. It's not going to work. Layla Hirsch, I don't know anything about her. I don't. She's spunky. She's small. She's a little firecracker, firefly, whatever you want to call her. But Nyla Rose beat Layla Hirsch. Competitive match. This was merely done because Layla Hirsch somehow is number 5 in the rankings. So Nyla Rose needs to beat people who are in the top 5 so that it justifies her getting a match against the Doctor. That's all that is. Hirsch landed a release German suplex and a Shining Wizard, which looked nice. She followed with a step-up moonsault, which did not look nice. Rose grabbed the ropes for the cover. Hirsch went for a cross-arm breaker, but Rose powered out with a one-arm powerbomb. Rose draped Hirsch over the top rope, but took a little bit too long to follow up. They fought up top. Rose sent Hirsch to the mat. Hirsch popped up and went for a top rope Frankensteiner, but Rose caught her, landed a massive avalanche beast bomb for the win. That's pretty much it. I don't know who's interested in Nyla Rose versus Britt Baker, but it's happening, folks, because Nyla Rose beat number 5, Layla Hirsch. Britt Baker, joined by Rebel, was interviewed by Mr. Shivani. She addressed Rose, saying she was mad about Rose interrupting her celebration. She admonished Rose for making fun of Hirsch's height. Baker already is the best champion in company history, but Rose has nothing on her. She's just another jealous bitch in the back. There's that B word, because it doesn't get serious in a promo if you don't say the word bitch. The title makes Nyla Rose. No, it doesn't. This title makes Nyla Rose, but Baker makes the title, just like she makes the division. I don't think Nyla Rose is ever going to make the title and vice versa. Just doesn't work that way with Nyla Rose. But Britt Baker says she makes the title, which I do agree with. Because the title right now, she didn't really do much with it. But I think Britt Baker is so hot right now that she's going to actually make the title important and stand out and a big deal on Dynamite. So she is right about that. Very good promo by Britt Baker. Yours truly, Dr. Britt Baker, and all three of them, Shivani included, did the DMD. L.A. Knight. Who took that from who? Gimmick infringement all over the place, man. Seriously. Next week's Dynamite lineup looking like this. Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers versus Eddie Kingston, Penta, and Frankie Kazarian. So pretty much exactly the same match that you got, minus one or two guys. Andrade El Idolo, or as Jim Ross put it, Andre El Igloo. Sit-down interview with Jim Ross. Orange Cassidy versus Cesar Bononi. 2-on-1 handicap match. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page versus Darby Allin. MMA rules fight in a cage. Jake Hager versus Wardlow. Cody Rhodes and Brock Anderson versus QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. And then the Saturday Night Dynamite, which is July 26th. Next week will happen on Friday, by the way, and I will be live for the Super Show. AEW Championship, Omega versus Jungle Boy, July 26th. That is happening Saturday night. Adam Page and Preston Vance, number 10 of the Dark Order, defeated Team Taz, Brian Cage, and Powerhouse Hobbs. This was fine for what it was. I wasn't really invested in this because this was pretty much more of the same from what we saw. Brian Cage and Adam Page at Double or Nothing. And it was more of the same. Brian Cage teasing that he's leaving Team Taz. He got into a little back and forth a little bit more aggressively tonight with Ricky Starks. So 10 tagged in. He had a spine buster on Hobbs. Hobbs forced 10 into the corner, allowing for a Cage tag. So Cage lands his offense, big man offense, on 10, followed up by a high-low with Hobbs. But 10 kicked out at 2. Hook distracted the official, and Starks comes out of nowhere and throws Brian Cage the FTW title. But Cage tossed it aside. He threw it away. Taz was on commentary, by the way. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Starks jumped on the apron and slapped the ever-living shit out of Brian Cage. He then pointed to his neck, not to hit him because he's got the bad neck. Brian Cage power walked up the ramp and chased Ricky Starks through the tunnel. That was the last we seen of them. And number 10 tried to take advantage here, but Hobbs hit a spine buster with Page breaking up the pin at the last second. Hobbs sent Page to the floor, but number 10 hit a ripcord cutter, and Page came in after being tossed out back into the ring with a buckshot lariat, allowing number 10 to get the pin over Will Hobbs in the main event of Dynamite. At the end of the match, the Dark Order came out to celebrate and had beers with both Preston Vance and obviously Adam Hangman Page. I can't wait for things to get back to normal, man. These don't really feel like the type of Dynamite shows that we're accustomed to because, I mean, let's be real, folks. Tony Khan is not going to give you a lot of important shit. He may give you a little nugget here and a little nugget there, but he's not going to load these shows up with back-to-back-to-back segments and fucking marquee matches that you got to watch Dynamite for. This is a Friday night Dynamite that is preempted by the NBA playoffs, and he doesn't really have any control over it. So he's not going to give you a typical fucking 9 out of 10 Dynamite that we're accustomed to seeing. They will get back to normal. We got a couple more weeks with this, and things will be back, and people will be there, and we won't be in Daly's place. It's going to be great. So just bear with it. They're not dying. Tony Khan is not going anywhere, right? So give me a break. Give me a break with this shit. Before I get out of here, I just want to mention this. Because I did mention it at the top of the initial podcast. Tony Khan actually addressed Triple H and his comments about the women's division. He fired back, not really, but kinda, at Triple H over recent comments. Now, he fired back at Triple H's claim that all female wrestlers who aren't in WWE want to be. So Triple H's quote on the recent media call was, "If you want to wrestle the best women in the world, come to WWE. That's where they are. If you want to go elsewhere and say that they are, that's an opinion, and you can. I'm all for it. I'm one of the biggest drivers of it. We will do another all-women's pay-per-view down the line, possibly. It may happen, but it's not a must-have at the moment. I think we do an amazing job of displaying our female athletes. Is it perfect? No. Will it always be in flux? Yes. But we do a pretty good job. In my opinion, the best female performers in the world are in WWE, and if they are not, they want to be in WWE. So Tony Khan gave his take on this because he was on Busted Open, and he says this, and I quote, "Everybody is building their own roster. They're going to have good feelings about the people they work with. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying you think you have the best show or the best company. I think where people got offended yesterday is when he said everybody wants to work there. That was like, people are confusing the two things. If you want to say like, hey, I think my show is the best, I think my product is the best, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you should feel that way, obviously. That's good. But when you say it like anybody of value wants to work here, that's not true. It's crazy. There's plenty of people who work in AEW that have absolutely no interest in working there. I think the champion made it pretty clear yesterday with what she tweeted. Now, I don't know who he's talking about. I'm not sure if he's talking about Britt Baker. I didn't see Britt Baker's tweet. I seen Thunder Rosa's tweet. I seen Deonna Purrazzo's tweet. But Thunder Rosa's tweet is the one that made the most headway. And she tweeted this: "The best female workers are not located in one company, not even in one country. They are spread over many companies and many countries. Talented women across the globe." Is Tony Khan right in what he said? Yeah. Now, some people said he should stay out of people's business, but he's in the wrestling business. He was asked a question, he answered it honestly. But Triple H made a fool of himself. And he got the proper heat on himself for the comments that he made. And I go over it on Saturday's Off the Script. It's the top story. So if you guys want my thoughts on that, you're going to have to watch Saturday's show. But as far as what he said here, no, not everybody wants to work for WWE. In fact, I think more people are now open up to not wanting to work with WWE, and more people now than ever in the industry feel like they don't need WWE to be successful. But that's what WWE does. They teach you while you're there inside the PC that when you are here, this is where many people want to be. This is where they all want to be. And when you leave here, if we get rid of you, if you're gone for whatever reason, your career is over. It's almost as if they don't really think that anything else exists outside their bubble. It is such a false fucking narrative by WWE. They're legitimately brainwashing their students and their PC performers. And Triple H is the first person to go out there and sign somebody from another promotion. He can think his promotion is the best promotion, which we know it's not. Everybody is fucking falling out of love and in favor with WWE. They're not doing anything right. It's always the fans' fault. Triple H will be the first person to go out to another company and sign somebody to bring them into NXT's women's division. His entire NXT women's division is riddled with people that he signed away from other promotions. His women's division, the best in the world, is a mixture of all other women that you took from other promotions. Because you sold them on this fucking pipe dream that this is where they all want to be. And then you think they're stupid enough to just blindly sit and not even give a shit. You don't think they see what's going up on the main roster? Why would anybody want to live a life like that knowing that that awaits them? His entire division is resourced from other companies. Tony Khan had every right to say what he said here, and he said it beautifully. But if you want more Triple H talk, we'll do it tomorrow on Off the Script. But I'm getting out of here, guys. I appreciate you all. It's 1 o'clock Texas time. I got to hit the hay. But if you enjoyed this video, man, please hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and turn on that bell for all notifications. Off the Script tomorrow, normal time, and then I'll be back live on Sunday with NXT TakeOver in your house. I hope you enjoyed this super show of Friday Night SmackDown and Friday Night Dynamite. Again, hit that thumbs up, and I will see you back live on Sunday night, back to regularly scheduled programming, back in New York on Sunday. We'll talk NXT TakeOver in your house. I'll see you guys later.